It is my pleasure to welcome you to the University of Manchester and the splendid surroundings of the Whitworth Hall for this graduation ceremony and presentation of graduates from the newly created School of Arts, Languages and Cultures. To start with, I'd like to welcome our graduates whose magnificent achievements we are here to celebrate today. This is, of course, a formal occasion, although many of you, in fact, will have already conducted or been to a graduation ceremony previously. I do hope you'll find time to enjoy this. I'd like to ask the audience that we would like you to break out in spontaneous applause and anything else you feel is appropriate as our graduates come up. But if we could just wait to hear their names first, because I think we do want to make sure we record this for prosperity. And graduates, as you come up, do smile. Don't forget you will be captured on camera. And then usually there's the response of thank you, sometimes cheers, and sometimes even cheers mate. So whatever you feel is appropriate. We are also delighted to see so many friends and family here. My own daughter and son graduated from the University of Manchester, so I know something of the amount of support that you have provided to our graduates today. So we thank you for your support and encouragement that you have given for our graduates during their studies. You can be extremely proud of all that they have achieved. The university has three main goals: excellence in research, excellence in teaching, but also a strong commitment to social responsibility. During your studies, each of you in your own way have contributed to the University of Manchester and to the surrounding community. Of course, this hasn't all been study. I do recall, in fact, a couple of years ago that one of the academic colleagues was met by one of the parents outside and said, "Thank you very much indeed." And my colleague responded, as you might say, with, it was all down to the student, their hard work. So no, actually, it's not about academic achievement. To be perfectly honest with you, when my son went to university, he was rather boring. Now I found we have wonderful, intelligent conversations. So thank you very much for helping my son develop in this way. I think it's an important accolade. In fact, we expect you not just to have academic achievements, but also to develop in many other ways as well. You are all successful. Many of you here today will become truly outstanding in your chosen fields. And it's fitting that this ceremony has a special feature, as it includes the award of an outstanding alumnus, when we welcome back one of our former students. Paul McCreish is one of the leading UK musicians of his generation, an acclaimed conductor. Paul is founder and artistic director of the Gabriella Consort and Players, and principal conductor and artistic advisor of the Gulbenkian Orchestra. I would like to ask for the head of music, Dr. Rebecca Harrison, to say a few words as part of the award of Outstanding Alumnus to Paul. Rebecca.
Vice President, ladies and gentlemen, graduands. Manchester has a long and proud history of classical music making, dating back to Sir Charles Halley's founding of the Halley Orchestra in 1858, and even earlier, if you count the city's first public concert series, which started way back in 1770 at a tavern in Market Street. Today, the city stands as a vibrant cultural centre, home to no fewer than 3 professional orchestras, the Halley itself, the BBC Philharmonic and the Manchester Camerata, and a major locus for professional concerts and broadcasts. As a provider of music education at the highest level, it is probably second only to London in terms of its significance, hosting Cheetham School of Music, one of only a handful of specialist music schools in the country, the Royal Northern College of Music, and of course the University of Manchester's Music Department, which has an impressive record of producing some of the country's top musical thinkers, creators, and performers. In recent years, the department's young graduates have had particularly notable successes in the field of conducting. For example, Duncan Ward, who graduated in 2009, is currently assisting Sir Simon Rattle at the Berlin Philharmonic, among other things, and the 2 most recent appointments as assistant conductor of the Halley, Andrew Gourlay and Jamie Phillips, both took up their posts shortly after graduating from the department. However, the department's strength in producing professional conductors, in fact, has a very distinguished pedigree. What better way of demonstrating that than by welcoming our special guest today? Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me enormous pleasure to introduce the recipient of the University of Manchester Outstanding Alumnus Award for 2012, Paul McCreish. By his own admission, Paul arrived in Manchester in 1978 with an ardent passion for music, but very little idea of where it might lead him. 30 years on, I'm happy to report it's taken him all over the world, and very successfully so. From 2006 to 2012, Paul was the artistic director of the Wratislawa Cantans Festival in Poland, one of Eastern Europe's most prestigious cultural events. And in September 2012, he was appointed principal conductor and artistic advisor of the Gulbenkian Orchestra in Lisbon from the 2013-14 season. But you could say it all began just across the road from here in the Holy Name Church on Oxford Road. It was here that a 20-year-old Paul organised his first concert, a performance of Monteverdi's Vespers with fellow students performing alongside professional musicians from London. Fortunately for Paul, given that he'd invested his student grant in organising the event, it attracted a few hundred guests and turned a small profit. Fortunately for us, it set him on course for a hugely successful musical career. As an artistic director and guest conductor, Paul regularly works with orchestras and choirs across the globe, covering a wide range of music. Recent successes include the Leipzig Gewandhaus, Budapest Festival, Spanish National, Danish National, Bergen Philharmonic and St Paul's Chamber Orchestras, and further afield, the Hong Kong Philharmonic and Sydney Symphony Orchestras. His own classical ensemble, the Gabrieli Consort and Players, which he founded while he was studying at Manchester, are world-renowned interpreters of great choral and instrumental music in their own right, spanning from the Renaissance to the present day. Recent highlights include performances of Haydn's The Seasons at the Barbican, London, and the Théâtre des Champs-Élysées in Paris, a magnificent performance of Mendelssohn's Elijah as part of the BBC Proms in 2011, a hugely popular UK choral tour, and critically acclaimed performances of Bach in Germany and Switzerland. In between performing, Paul has even found time to set up his own classical music label, Winged Lion, in 2011. The label's debut recording of Berlioz's Grand Mas des Morts was a great success, winning a BBC award, and has been followed by Mendelssohn's Elijah, which was just released in September 2012. It's not all about recording and performing, however. Paul is particularly passionate about working with young musicians and broadening access to classical music. He works regularly with youth orchestras all around the world, from Sydney and Hong Kong to Ulster and the Tees Valley. With his colleagues in the Gabrieli Consort and Players, he set up the Gabrieli Young Singers Scheme to support and nurture promising young singers in the UK. And here in Manchester, he has a long-standing outreach partnership with Cheetham School of Music, featuring a regular programme of coaching, conducting and performing, helping to inspire the next generation of classical musicians and performers. Vice President, I present to you for the Award of Outstanding Alumnus, Mr. Paul McCreish.
It's a magnificent network. I didn't even put down your neck there, or you can let it go break. Thank you. Perhaps I can invite you to say a few words.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, graduates. It's a great honor for me to receive this award from this wonderful university. It is 31 years, alas, since I was seated, like many of you wonderful young people, to get my Mus.B. And like everybody at 50-something, one is always amazed how quickly life passes. I wanted to say just a few words to those of you who are about to graduate today. I don't think my path was predestined at 21 when I left this wonderful university. I'm delighted to see my good friend and retired professor David Fallows in the front row, and he did tell me over a very boozy dinner recently that although the department was very happy to drop my name in the prospectus, he would not have put any money on me having any success at 21. And I think he was entirely right to make that assessment. And I say that to you and share that with you for two reasons. One is that I do believe profoundly that education is and should be a lifelong experience. And I, like many of you, perhaps took a little bit longer to find what it is that made me tick. But I think I was set on that path by an outstanding 3 years at this great university, in a time where courses were not particularly prescribed, But I had a wonderful opportunity to meet inspiring people, great lecturers, interesting lecturers, fellow students, performing musicians from the northern and many places, and it's enabled me to, if you like, get the learning bug. And I recall even when I left Manchester, I was still reading articles and still thinking about music, even if I wasn't continuing along the line of formal academic study. And I hope many of you will have that bug, that little germ put within you in this great university, and will continue that process of learning as you get older. And the second thing I'd say from my heart is I do recall 31 years ago sitting here and having received my degree, and I will be honest with you, it wasn't the happiest day of my life. I'd graduated. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I felt I wanted to be a conductor, but the world is full of 20-something-year-old conductors who think they're Simon Rattle but aren't. And if I may actually correct one tiny thing in your citation, I have yet to appear with the Berlin Philharmonic. I've done every other orchestra in Berlin, but not the Berlin Philharmonic. But I think like many young musicians, like many people, I wasn't particularly ready at that time for my career, but I sought opportunities. I worked out my own way of following it through, and I would urge any of you, those of you who haven't got your career set in stone yet, take the time, don't rush, find what it is you can do, and I'm sure in the end, if you follow your instinct and your heart, you will have a successful and most important and enjoyable career, something that you really want to do. So I would just like to finish by saying I'm truly honoured to receive this award and to congratulate both the graduates on, I'm sure, extremely hard work that you've had to undertake to get your degrees, to re-echo the words to thank your parents. My own son will also be graduating in a few weeks' time, and I will be sitting like you are as a proud parent. And I know, as we all know, what support young people need, not just financially, although that's frightening enough, but morally. And I'm sure many of you as parents will be sitting here remembering your little children and to rejoice today that they've grown up to be wonderful young people and have achieved great success already in their lives. So thank you all very much, and I hope we have a fantastic ceremony, and congratulations to all the youngsters for their fantastic achievements. Thank you.
I would now like to invite Professor Jeremy Gregory to say a few words on behalf of the school.
Vice President, colleagues, graduands, and your families and friends, as head of the School of Arts, Languages and Cultures, I'm delighted to congratulate those of you graduating today on your stunning successes in obtaining your degrees. Colleagues in the school are extremely proud of what you have achieved. They have worked closely with you for 3 years or more. Some of you graduating today have studied with us for your BA, MA, and PhD programs, meaning that you've showed loyalty to us for over 7 years, and you've become very much part of our academic community. Many of you who are being awarded a PhD today have also been graduate teaching assistants, working alongside us in teaching our undergraduates, so that you are our valued colleagues as well as our inspiring students. We hope that whether you are being awarded a BA, an MA, or a PhD today, you found your time here intellectually and academically stimulating. Because whatever else studying for a degree gives you, the experience should have been one where you found yourself both challenged and excited, and where you yourselves have become authorities on the topics you've researched. I'm extremely grateful to my colleagues for having given you that experience. For many of you, I have no doubt it will have transformed your lives, though you may not know it yet. I therefore ask you all to join me in thanking my colleagues and inspiring you over your time with us. So thank my colleagues. This ceremony in our magnificent Whitworth Hall reminds us of the bold Victorian hopes and aspirations for our university. It also reminds us both that the disciplines you've studied have a long and distinguished record at this institution, and that the university was a pioneer in several of these. When the university was founded in 1851, classics, history, and English were the main art subjects offered. English was part of the syllabus here long before Oxford and Cambridge. The faculties of music and theology were opened in 1904, with Manchester being the first English university to offer courses in comparative religion. Manchester was the first university in the world to offer American studies in 1947, and art history formally became a department in the 1950s, with the first endowed chair in the discipline in the UK. The archaeology and drama departments were formed in the 1960s, and our Centre for New Writing came into being in 2007, with the Humanitarian and Conflict Response Institute first offering programs in 2009. I'm very pleased to say that today all these departments and programs are flourishing and are known for their excellent teaching, research, and engagement with the wider public. In terms of research, a number of our departments are ranked in the top 5 in the country. Colleagues have had success in receiving external funding for their research, and a number of those have included PhD studentships, which have helped fund your research. Over the last year, the university has made some 20 new lecturer and professorial appointments in these areas, indicating its continued investment in these subjects. One of the great advantages of the school are its rich cultural assets, notably the John Rylands Library at Deansgate, the Whitworth Art Gallery, and the Manchester Museum. These are undoubtedly amongst the most important research as well as teaching resources enjoyed by any university in the UK. And I know that many of you will have used them in your studies, especially for your dissertations. And the university plans to use these resources even more at postgraduate level. Already, some MA teaching takes place in these institutions, and we're looking to raise funds to have targeted PhD studentships to work on the Rylands unrivaled collections. Today, the school has one of the largest concentrations of PhD and MA students in arts and languages in the UK, with over 400 MA students and over 500 PhD students. We have also nearly 6,000 undergraduates. Our current MA and PhD programs are designed to prepare our students both for professional life outside the academy, as well as those who might want to pursue an academic career. We have, for example, pioneered doctoral programs in professional practice, notably in drama and arts management. And in September 2011, we appointed a director of research training in the arts, who, building on early initiatives, has had a brief not only to encourage students in research methods, but also in the skills needed for the world of work. And this September, we launched a graduate school, offering both a physical and web-based presence to help foster a sense of academic community amongst our graduates, and to enable them to make the most of the interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary opportunities on offer within the school. Our Centre for Interdisciplinary Research in Arts and Languages offers, among other things, the opportunities for our graduate students to participate in masterclasses with distinguished visiting scholars. When Manchester, along with other English universities, started to offer PhD programs in 1918, it was soon realized that without adequate funding and proper facilities, it would be difficult to attract large numbers of students. And those issues have remained serious concerns for the last 100 years. And the university is committed to improving its facilities for all students, and where possible, to seek funding for their support. Colleagues, following a model traditionally associated with the sciences, are building PhD studentships into their grant applications. We are, at the end of January, about to submit to the Arts and Humanities Research Council a large bid to secure funding for PhD studentships in arts and humanities subjects for the next 5 years. And in all this, it's clear that funding for MAs will be a major issue in the future. I was asked by one of the programme directors if I would read out the names of those MA students who obtained distinctions this year, and I was very happy to do so. But I found out that 57 of our students at this ceremony had achieved that honour, which, given time constraints and the fact that we will be hearing a large number of names in a minute, I thought I would just note what a splendid achievement that is, and its testimony to the extremely impressive results gained by you all. So let's have a general clap. After this ceremony, I invite you to join colleagues for a reception. I hope you thoroughly enjoy today. Please keep in touch with us and visit us when you're back in Manchester. We wish you the very best of luck for the future and look forward to hearing how you're doing. Thank you.
Vice President, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, John David Ayres. Camelia Dana Dari. Peter Deacon. Catherine Gines Taylor. Amy Gray Jones. Liam Hayden. Hermione Caracciolio. Laura Elizabeth Beckeris Key. Nicola Lee Macaulay. Christopher Monk. Tasneem Perry. Jennifer Petrie. Humaira Zainab Saeed. James Andrew Smith. Barry Taylor. And for the degree of Master of Philosophy, Alia Nouri Khalid. And for the degree of Master of Arts in American Studies History, Laura Catherine Margaret Gilmore. Joseph William Morton. And in American Studies, Literature and Culture, Sarah Weinig. Sorry. Apologies. First of all, Megan Hunt. And now Sarah Weinig. And in archaeology, Martha Ann Cook. Fleur Ewing. James Robert Fairclough. Katie Mills. And in Art Gallery and Museum Studies, Elizabeth Carley Aldridge. Catherine Mary Andrews. Rebecca Arnott. Emma K. Bagnall. Amelia Victoria Rosamond Bayliss. Joshua Richard Butt. Ginger Carlson. Charlotte Clark. Stephanie Coxon. Maria Dolores Delgado Arcade. Joanna Eccles. Sophie Rose Fitzpatrick. Rosie Hannah Gibson. Alice Elizabeth Goodwin. Anne Bridget Hargis. Jamila Emma Hawa. Tilly May Howarth. Kaylee Jenkinson. Caroline Mary McLennan. Jenny Bethune Oakenfull. Emma O'Rourke. Shannon Laura Quigley. Harriet Richardson. Jack Ridley. Cara Sutherland. Jesprit Kaur Fethi. Lucy Grace Thompson. Elizabeth Thorpe. Catherine Helen Tomlin. Emma Jane Ward. Abigail Ruth Winder. And in art history, Michael David Atherton. Marjorie Jean Clark. Rosie Needham Smith. Camilla Merk-Rostvik. Jana Smurova. And in Arts Management Policy and Practice, Harriet Olsup. Elizabeth Fitzpatrick. Tayana Dominique Jackson. Mo Yin Kwok. Valentina Oru. Kate Alison Jane Weatherall. Jack Prescott Welsh. And Jin Zhu. And in biblical studies, Peter Matthew Damons. Joshua Jackie Kane. Jennifer Helen Platt. Sean Louise Witchman. And in classics and ancient history, David Anderson. Stephen Fitzsimmons. Anissa Iram Hussain. Mayor Elizabeth Lloyd. Elizabeth Hazel Pearson. James William Priestley. Andrew David Sager. Ashley Rebecca Thorpe. James Michael Tuplin. David John Whittam. Gregory Ian Yates. And in contemporary literature and culture, Matthew Alexander. Sophie Alison Mirabel Govan. Kate Johnson. And in creative writing, Catherine Elizabeth Morrison Anderson. Cheyenne Zarak Barry. Michael Edward Catley. Karen Kin Lin Chung. Owen Clements. Alan Evans. David Ivan Francis. Jonathan Herbert. Jordana Hill. Stephanie Holmes. Justin Patty. Alexandra Louise Robinson. Fran Joseph Slater. Alexa Jade Turnpenny. Max Wallace. Nicola Ruth West. Elizabeth Alice Woodward. And in cultural history, Roberto Salvatore Albert Biondo. Katie Maria Duffy. And in early modern history, Roy Stephen Hickey. Jamie Mark Latham. And in economic and social history, Kimberly de Jong. And in English and American Studies, Stephen John Bouchard. Catherine Louise Bunbury. Tristan Burke. Edmund William Chapman. Charlotte Jade Hobbs. Rebecca Grace Parton. Rosie Reespan. Edward Charles Roberts. Jack Alexander Sullivan. And in gender, sexuality and culture, Diane Henry Alexander. And in history, Ka Ho Chan. Jonathan Peter Goff. Rachel Hay. Kieran Killick. Lucy Murta. And in humanitarianism and conflict response, Alexandra Georgiana Zafiria Agidis. Matthew Lawrence Bailey. Philippa Lucy Bown. Sam Garbett. Stuart John Garman. Anna Gerard Hughes. Joseph Harold Frederick Glover. Jack Alexander Goodman. Louise Griffiths. Deborah Ann Hawker. Charlotte Highmore. Chloe Rebecca Hignett. Andrew Sherat Jameson. Antonia Rose King. Alice Rhiannon Lee. Francis Tamboleno. Karen Mary Livingston. Lisa McGreedy. Christopher Thomas McAleer. James Morris. Katrina C. Pineda. James Quayle. Tracy Ann Rowlandson. Unjashi Shan Mugum Pillai. Atina Shivanian Konaki. Abigail Louise Taylor. And in Jewish Studies, Victoria Mary Louise Biggs. And in Literature and Culture, 1200 to 1700, Catherine Gemma Westwood. And in Medieval Studies, Lee Brooks. Georgina Sally Gatsfield. Melissa Rose May. Andrew Robert Phillips. And in modern British history, Thomas Joshua Casey. James Michael Horrocks. Oliver Eric Jackson. Danielle Shepherd. Daniel James Smith. And in modern European history, Nicholas Andros Luzu. And in post-1900 literatures, theories and cultures, Rayam Aluwani. Eleanor Edmonds. Richard George Gall. Al-Mustafa Najjar. And in post-colonial literatures and cultures, Claire Alicia Evans. David Firth. Sarah Elizabeth Newport. And in religion and political life, Jonathan Edward Barker Holmes. Scott Adam Midson. And in Screen Studies, John Forrest. And in Theatre and Performance, Nicholas Martin Birchill. And in Theatre and Performance Applied Theatre, Dana Leanne Brannick. Catherine Louise Cousins. Miriam Sari Jaquel. Shu Lui. Zara McGregor. Emma Louise Rampley. Melissa Smith. Holly Elizabeth Wimpenny. Gemma Woffenden. And in Victorian times, Lucy Elizabeth Maycock. Rebecca Kate Peake. Louise Elizabeth Roger. And in War, Culture and History, Richard John Francis Beavers. Daniel Robert Chesters. And in World History, Sasha May Hepburn. Anthony Dashiell Stewart. Joel William Whittam. And for the degree of Master of Music, Electroacoustic Music Composition, Daniel Sowell. And in musicology, Michael Stewart Burt. Kieran Ellis. Kerry Siobhan Firth. Martin Albert Norduin. James David Percival. Timothy Wilby. And for the postgraduate diploma in theatre and performance, Isel Ceylani. And for the postgraduate certificate in English and American Studies, Sabina Magdalena Savica. And for the degree of Master of History in History with Honours, Holly Rebecca Partridge. Patrick William David Townsley. Dermot Quinn. And for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Ancient History with honours, Thomas Anthony Doyle. And in Ancient History and Archaeology with honours, Simon Benjamin Sharples. And in Archaeology with honours, Simon David Bailey. Octavia Elizabeth Younger. And in Classical Studies with honours, Yasmin Everly Blount. Catherine Pierce. And in Drama with honours, Hannah Olivia Tilley. And in History with honours, Anika Bardwaj. Olivia Lucy Kate Morris. And in History of Art with honours, Nadia Baumur. Charlotte Roberts. And in Modern History with Economics with honours, Andrew Campbell. Luke Williams. And in Politics and Modern History with honours, beg your pardon, and for the degree of Bachelor of Music with honours, Catherine Smith. George Dudley Angus Wilson. And for the degree of Bachelor of Music joint with the RNCM with honours, Alexandra Patrick Main Ian. And from the Centre for Combined Studies for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Historical Studies and Philosophy with honours, Charlotte Louise Beecroft. And in Historical Studies and Social Science with honours, Lucy Bridges. Cherish Foster. And in Religious Studies and Comparative Religions and Psychology with honours, Jessica Purchase. And in Social Science and Religious Studies and Comparative Religion with honours, Daniel McBrien. And in Social Sciences and Classical Civilizations with honours, Matthew Yates. And in Spanish and Social Sciences, Thomas James Fish. And in History and Sociology, Natasha Jane Wadsworth. And for the degree of Masters of Arts in Contextual Theology, Judith Briggs. Dorothy Burma. Felicity Jepson Randall. Bachelard Kazi Yemster. And for the postgraduate diploma in contextual theology, Patricia Lindsay. And for the postgraduate certificate in contextual theology, Michelle Brocklehurst. And for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Contextual Theology with honours, Elaine Green. Rachel Spence.
It's such a pleasure to officiate at a ceremony like this. I got quite a few cheers and even a muchas gracias today as well, so a few changes to the norm. I'd just like to be first to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all of those who've graduated today. And on behalf of the University of Manchester, I'd like to extend our best wishes for your future. What I'd like to ask for those who've just graduated to stand, if you're able, and to put on your caps and mortarboards to signify that you have now completed your studies and are graduates from the University of Manchester. I'm sure all those graduating today understand that the warmth and the applause signifies the amount of pride in which everybody holds your achievements today. If you could all now stand, please, I will call the ceremony to an end. Thank you.